Hi guys, welcome to Salesforce Troop. Today we're gonna learn how to create a reusable spinner with text in LWC. Spinner component is already given by Salesforce Lightning Web component, but we need a feature that allow us to add text below the spinner. So I thought, okay, why not we create a full reusable spinner? So for that, first we'll go to our VS Code and we'll create the Lightning Web component. So you can go to view and command palette. You can open the command palette directly as well, like Control Shift P or Command Shift P if you are on Mac. So we'll create a component. I'll give this name spinner demo. So it will create a spinner demo under the LWC folder. So now my component is created. So first thing we'll set the meta tags. So before deploying, need this, but I do always in the starting. So I change is exposed to true and I set targets. This spinner should be visible on app page, record page. You can add other pages as well. For demo purpose, we'll use only app page. I can remove this record page, but it's good to have because a reusable component usually works in all types of pages. So you can add those targets. So let's go and create the lightning card first. Card with title, we can say table spinner demo. So our card is ready. Now we want to show a button that we can able to trigger our spinner. So I'll create a button inside the card. Is spinner. I can change this to lightning button. That makes sense here. I'll give this boost. I'll remove the HTML button. Go with lightning button. So then it takes label spinner from here. Then we need variant. I can give it brand. That will give us blue color, and I can give on click of this button I can say inner one handler. Wrap this up. Quickly go to our JS file and create the method that will get called when you click on that button, and here we'll put some text on just to fill some data, dummy data, something 111, let it be. Now we want the spinner. Now I'll show you the spinner is already available. So for that you need to go the component library. So we are in component library. You can go to component reference and here you can type spinner. Under the lightning web component you will see the spinner. Don't go for the aura one, we are talking about LWC. I'll go to spinner and it gives us three options: spinner sizes, spinner with inverse variant, and display a spinner conditionally. So I'll just take the basic spinner, whatever it is. So I'll take the basic code of the spinner and I'll come back to my VS code and I'll show this spinner here and I'll wrap this spinner with the if true directive. So one, and I'm gonna create a property show one in my JS. So once that property become true, then the spinner will be visible, otherwise it will be no, it will not be visible. Okay, I'll go and create that property. Initially it's false, and on click of button it become okay. So let's deploy this and see how it works. So now it's deployed. Let's go to our org. Here I'm already my org. I have a app page, test app page I have created. You can place it anywhere. So I'll go and edit this page and I'll place my component now to this particular page. This spinner demo. So I have lots of components, so it will take time. I have around 170 components. So I'll place it in the first column. I'll hit save. I'll go back. And now, right now the spinner is not visible. Some text is there, card heading is there. On click of this button, will show the spinner. Now the spinner is coming. Now I don't have any way to add the text right now. Like I want to show the text below it's loading or fetching data, wait for a minute, doing something. I want to show some data. So that feature is not given by Salesforce. And in the existing component, you can just change the size like small, medium, large, and you can change the alternative text. There is a variant property as well. We'll go and now build a reusable component, and reusable component is always independent. So we're gonna create a separate component now. We'll say lightning spinner is already there. So we'll say loader, lightning loader, the reusable component name. Now our component is ready. What we're gonna do is we'll create some properties here first. What all things are required for our spinner. So first thing, I need a spinner text. What the text I want to show, I initialize it with the empty property, and I want this property to be passed from the user who gonna use my lightning loader. So I'll use @API and I'll expect it from the parent. I'll give the spinner text one property, then I'll say @API size. I want the user to send me the size as well who is using the loader, and I set it by default value as medium, but if somebody pass from the parent it will override. Apart from that, I need variant, and I initialize the variant as base. It can be brand as well as inverse, so we'll just put the command like base, brand, and inverse are the property here. And for sizes, the properties are small, medium, and large. These are the valid properties. And apart from that, we need some help text. So help text is useful for accessibility point of view. What we're gonna do is we'll go to our spinner demo.html and we'll take out this code as it is and come back to our loader HTML and place this HTML as it is. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna use those properties. So alternative text is there. This is for accessibility point of view when your spinner is loading on the screen reader. So this will pick up. So we need some helpful text here. Apart from that, we need a size here. So size is already created here, the property size. So size will bind to the size attribute. Alternative text will bind in a minute. Apart from that, we have created the variant. So we want the variant property here as well. We are binding the variant as well. What else we can give here is the help text. So alternative text is mostly for accessibility, and the another property that we're gonna create here is the data text that will show the text below our spinners. So I'll say this as we already created a property that is spinner text. So we'll map this to a spinner text, and we need a alternative text. For that, we can create a property help text, and we'll go here, and this help text we're gonna use a getter. I'll tell you the reason why. Because help text is always required basically, right? Spinner text may or may not be required for the user. Like sometimes you just want to show the spinner but you don't want to show the text below the spinner. but help text is always required basically for accessibility point of view, and it's a best practice. So we'll do one thing. We'll say if user is passing the spinner text, take the spinner text as a help text. Otherwise, you can give loading spinner as the help text. So the people who are physically challenged or impaired who is using the your component on the screen reader, they get to know, okay, some spinner loading spinner is running on the screen. Okay, so help text we have given and we bind it to the help text. We have the size, we have the variant, we have the spinner text. Right, so our component is looking almost good right now. So what we'll do is we'll go to our spinner demo.html and we'll call this component there. So we'll say c hyphen lightning hyphen loader, and we already know we have to pass few things. So first thing is the spinner text that is required if you want to pass, otherwise you don't need to pass anything. Okay, so let's call this loader without any attribute for time being. So by default it should take the medium size base as the variant and help text as a loading spinner, and the spinner text is empty. Okay, so let's deploy our loading loader first, and after that we'll deploy our spinner demo.html. Our both component is deployed. Let's go back to org. Let's refresh the page. So now let's click this button and see whether spinner is coming or not. And spinner is still coming by creating the reusable component. Now I want some text here. So what I'll do, I'll go back to my VS Code and this time I'll pass the property that is spinner text, and I'll say spinner text. Hey, I am spinner. So let's deploy this and see whether something shows up on the screen or not. Okay. So you might thinking we haven't wrote any CSS and all. That's why I'm showing you when I pass simply text whether it comes or not. Let's go to the page and refresh the page. And let's click on this button again. Now you see the text is not at all coming, right? So we need something that can bring our text below this. And here comes the CSS. And this CSS is gonna be little bit tricky, not too tricky, but little bit tricky. So first go to our lightning loader reusable component. Let's create the CSS file with the same name, lightning loader.css. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create some classes here. So first I'll create a loader. I'll say after that wherever the loader class loads, after that you give the position absolute. So that will take my text to above the stack. Then what I'm gonna do is I'll say I want the width of the text to be 100%. I want the text align to be center because our spinner is always in center, so our text should be aligned center. I want the font weight to be bold. Now the tricky part and a very good point here, there is only one thing that you can pass from the HTML to our CSS, and here what we're gonna do is we're gonna pass some class from here, like a text sort of thing that will, like, we gonna use this particular attribute in the CSS. So suppose I'm passing here, hey Nikhil. So I'm gonna use that text in the CSS with the property. We call that property as content. So only content has the power in CSS to cache the data, and it will say tell me which attribute I need to catch, and we will say data hyphen text you need to catch. So what will it will do is it will take the text, make the text position absolute, take the width 100%, center line and the bold. Okay, so let's deploy till here right now, and then we'll see how it looks right now. Deploy this to org. So it's deployed, but we did one mistake. We forgot to use this class loader. So I'll add one more attribute class, the loader. Let's deploy this again. Now it's deployed. Let's go to our org, refresh the page. And now let's click this spinner button. Now you see the spinner is coming, but our text is going somewhere else. So do the right click on this text. Let's go to inspect. And now I'll show you how you can add the CSS from here itself. So I'll go and hover over this text. So you can see the colon after is coming here, and your all CSS is coming here that you have defined. So let's add a new property. Because it's a position absolute, you can use the property top, and we're gonna calculate the position dynamically. For that, in CSS we have a function calc, and that what we'll do is we'll say 50% from the top plus 1 em. Now if you see, our text is coming just below the our spinner, and I can make it as rem instead of em. Rem is a relative position, so I'll say make it as 2 rem, and it's looking good to me, 2 rem, or you can make it as 1.5 rem. It's far better now. And let's go and paste this to our CSS. Say this right now. Let's deploy this. It's deployed. Let's refresh the page. Yeah, I'm spinner. It's coming correctly in this correct position. You can change the color to gray or something based on your need. You can go and change the color in the class. So this is how our text comes. Now let's test the other scenarios. Let's go to our demo.html, and we'll add the other features like size. This time I'll go with the size large, and then I'll test another feature that is variant. I'll give as a brand. I'll say variant brand, and apart from that, spinner text is already coming, so help text is that only, like hey I am spinner. Or I'll say fetching data from server, more meaning name here. Deploy this and see if it's working fine or not. Page, set it. Yeah, it's coming perfectly fine, and I don't like black color, is too dark, so I'll color as well. Okay, color, okay, gray color, or we can do something related to this colors that is coming from the variant. If we can, let me that. But they are using some other classes, so I don't want to use those. So let it be. We'll go our CSS and add the gray color. That's looking better. So I'll say color gray, and I want the button name to be something different, like show spinner, not spinner, show spinner. And let's add few more card below this quickly. What we're gonna do is, in the first one we are showing the size large and brand. Second one, what we'll do small. And what else is there? Can go with base. Then we can go with third one, that is medium. For medium you don't need to find, but you can. And it will be, we have covered base, brand. I can go with the inverse. The inverse thing. We'll change the property this to 3. Go to JS, I'll create the property 3. Then I'll go to HTML and I'll change this property to 2. One property as well. And we'll create handlers. And instead of this, I can do one cool trick. Okay. Event dot target dot name, and in my HTML, my button, I can add the name property and give this name as same, this name as show one, last one. So now we have three types of what we call spinner, or three types of card, and all three are using different types of spinner. And I want test all three, but we don't have a feature to hide this right now. So what we're gonna do is, we'll use the set timeout and do one, say set timer equal to dot set timeout. This is just to give the delay actually, so that timer will show for a time being and it will disappear. So I'll give the 5 seconds. So 500 millisecond is 5 seconds. And here what I'm gonna do is, I'll make this property false after 5 seconds, so it will hide. And at the same time after this, I'll remove the timer. That is very important, otherwise it to the memory leaks. So I'll just pass the reference of the timer to the clear timeout. So let's deploy this and deploy your both components. Let's go back to our org, refresh the page. So now we have three cards. All three are with different spinner size. So first let's open the first one. It's showing fetching data from server, and it should disappear after 5 seconds if our timeout works correctly. So it's not getting disappear. Let's go to our code and see why it's not working. And here I can see maybe the event.target.name is losing its scope inside. So let's store this value in a variable, the object destructuring. I'll say we'll take out the name from the event.target and storing it into a variable name, and we'll replace this name. And yeah, let's deploy this. And let's go to org, refresh the page. Refresh the page. Now let's see if it's working or not. And after 5 seconds it should disappear. Yes, it's working now. So let's click it again. So this is the large one with the other variant, and this is the second. I guess that is a small and the different variant. We can change the spacing between the text if you want. And this one is not visible because it's a variant is inverse. And for that, what we can do is, if you go click it here, spinner will be there. Not able to, so quick, it's so quick. not visible. Let's add some background color actually to the spinner here for this particular when the variant is inverse. I'm back to my VS Code. I'll go to the lightning loader.html, and what we're gonna do, we will check if the variant is inverse, then add another class, and that class we can say here in the CSS we can say inverse, and for inverse we can give background RGB 00. These three colors will give the black color, and 0.7 will reduce the opacity, so it's not exact fully black but little bit grayish black. Okay, and we want this class to be append here. So what we're gonna do, we'll remove this class as well and we'll generate the class dynamically. So I'll say class name. I'll go to the JS file. I'll say get class name as a getter. Will return this dot variant equal to verse, then return loader as well as inverse class, otherwise loader. Or we can short it further. I can change it to string interpolation. I can say always pass the loader and check if it is inverse. Give, give the inverse class, otherwise the empty class. This is another way of writing this. So loader will always be there, but if it variant is inverse, then the inverse class will come along with the loader. Okay, let's deploy this to org. In our spinner demo HTML, we already have that. And I just want to clean this up a little bit, so I'll just give a proper name here. We'll say spinner handler instead of spinner one handler because we are reusing the same handler name. I'll replace this handler, and here we can change this to 2 so that we get some difference between our card. And here, and the first one I'm saying fetching data from server, here I can say loading, and in the third one I can say change this. And the third one spinner text we can give, we already said fetching, loading, and we'll say wait something. And let's deploy this now. We have deploying our spinner demo, and make sure you have deployed your lightning loader as well. So I'm back to my org. I refresh the page. So let's try 3 spinner again. The first one is showing fetching data from server, second one is showing loading the small size, and the third one is weight, and it's inverse, so we are giving now a gray background here, like dark black background. So this is all 3 spinners are working, all 3 variant we have shown you. We can change the color, like if you want to change the color of text based on something, or if you want to change the distance between the spinner and the text, you can work on it. So you just need to arrange those classes according to you, and here you can write your logic the way we are writing. If you want, like if size is small, I want the loader has less space, you can reduce this calculation from 1.5 to 1. Those all calculation you can do it. That's it for this video, and if you guys have any doubt, please ask me in the comment box, and please like the video if you like my work. And yeah, you will get the code in the video's description, and enjoy your day.